A major arterial road connecting Sydney to the Central West is tonight cut off to traffic after 2 people died in an horrific head-on crash between a car and a truck this afternoon. Reporter Archie Staines has the details.
Tash, absolutely horrifying scenes here at Mount Lambie, with the Great Western Highway still closed between Range Road and Barton Avenue. Emergency services arrived around 1:30 this afternoon to find a white sedan collided head-on with a truck carrying LP gas bottles. While paramedics did all they could, sadly the 2 people inside the car died at the scene. Rodents running rampant, forcing Corrective Services New South Wales to take drastic action. 420 inmates and dozens of staff are now in the process of being transferred to different facilities across the state. The full extent of the damage will be further assessed this week, and at this stage, the Correctional Centre anticipates it will be some months before normal operations can continue.
Police are ramping up their search efforts to find a man who went missing from a Bathurst pub last week.
The 25-year-old was last seen leaving the Paddy's Hotel in Bathurst at midnight on Wednesday the 23rd of June after a night out with mates. Police have undertaken extensive searches, with Pole Air conducting sweeps from the sky. Police say Chaser's phone was last pinged in the Rock Forest area just outside of Bathurst. They say he was driving a white utility with the New South Wales registration of YIQ10Z. Anyone who has seen that car is being urged to come forward. Fists flying, cameras rolling, and dozens of teenagers urging them on. Confronting videos have emerged showing students from Dubbo College involved in vicious brawls. In a statement to 9 News Local, the New South Wales Department of Education says the school has a zero tolerance policy towards violence and inappropriate behaviour. A man had to be cut free from his ute after a truck careered into his vehicle yesterday afternoon, the crash occurring here on the intersection of Durham and Peel Street in Bathurst. Peak hour traffic along Durham Street was brought to a standstill as emergency crews worked to clear the site. Andrew disappeared on June 2nd, 2009. He was last seen on CCTV at the news agency in William Street, purchasing a birthday card for his father. However, despite extensive investigations and searches, Andrew's body has never been found. Archie Staines, 9 News.
Reporter Archie Staines there.
Paramedics work to stabilise a 30-year-old pedestrian allegedly hit by a 4-wheel drive in the heart of Bathurst.
Authorities are tonight pleading with everyone to take care after 3 people were killed in a crash in Central West New South Wales. Police are investigating a suspicious fire that destroyed a home in Kelso overnight. It took 5 crews and almost 3 hours to fight the flames.
He was found laying near the road by a driver passing by around 6 p.m. Rural Road shortly after, scattered with police and paramedics.
2 people are tonight recovering in hospital following a 2-car crash in Bathurst this afternoon.
A crime scene was established in Piper Street near George Street around 10:30 on Saturday morning, with several homes cordoned off for investigation.
Forensic police pore over a West Bathurst home, searching for clues after a violent and bloody knife attack left police and neighbours rattled. A freak accident involving a backyard trampoline, leaving a young boy from the Central West with serious head injuries.
A teenager has died in a heartbreaking series of events on a highway at Orange in the state's Central West. The 15-year-old was struck by an oncoming truck while trying to help another driver after an earlier crash.
These are live pictures coming into us from Dubbo in Central West New South Wales this morning. That lineup is growing by the minute. There are people heeding the message to come forward for testing.
Hannah Taylor joins me live. Hannah, and it's still snowing where you are there.
Yes, Tash, the snow started to settle here late last night, and as you can see behind me, it still hasn't stopped.
If you want to pick some sunflowers, you'll have to get in quick before the frost settles in as the weather begins to cool. Calling for Councillor Burke to resign immediately until investigations into allegations he was involved in the blackmail of Councillor Jackie Rudge are resolved.
Cars crushed, trees down, roofs ripped off homes in a few minutes of mayhem. the roof come down. Didn't know where it landed, then realised it landed across the road.
A community put on notice. Cars streamed through the pop-up testing clinic in Blaney after a worker at the town's Nestle site tested positive to the virus.
The crisis now spilling into our regions. The central west city of Orange feeling the full force of a snap lockdown.
The pandemic took a tragic turn in the western region today with 3 deaths inside aged care homes in Dubbo. Health authorities are working to contain the outbreaks while another local government area has been sent back into lockdown.
Now coronavirus has crept into Cowra, the town recording its first case ever, forcing residents back into lockdown. Locals saying cheers to the end of lockdown. Walls collapsed, the roof torn off, trees snapped in two. This is the aftermath of the tornado that ripped through Clear Creek and Meadow Flat.
I looked up, the roof had just vanished. I just grabbed my wife, ducked for cover.
Of the 11 properties impacted during last night's tornado, this was one of the worst hit. Despite a harrowing night and a big clean-up ahead, Morris and his wife say they're just lucky to be alive.
In Bathurst, where Paul Toole is the local member, we are standing by for a result out of the Nationals party room at any moment.
Our reporter Olivana Lathouris joins us now. Ollie, what's the latest?
Link, I'm here at Wellington Police Station where homicide detectives believe they have found the man responsible for gunning down local handyman and father Frank Smith. When paramedics arrived on the scene, they found a heavy vehicle carrying hay bales had collided with the ute.
An inmate from Bathurst Correctional Services has been taken to hospital after suffering a fall inside the prison. Ambulance paramedics were called to Bathurst Correctional Centre around 2 o'clock this afternoon after reports an inmate at the jail was injured.
Police were first on the scene where they found the rider suffering life-threatening injuries. The first flight from Sydney touching down in Dubbo this morning, carrying Premier Dominic Perrottet and Deputy Premier Paul Toole.
It's great to be here in Dubbo on day one of regional travel. And today is an exciting day, not just for the regions, but for the entire state.
The easing restrictions a critical step to seeing hospitality and tourism back on its feet.